Hi, everybody. Welcome to our community conversation together. I'm here with the fabulous Naomi and Simon. My name is Asia. I am the department manager at the Swear Center. I do all of the above, and so do Simon and Naomi. I'll allow them the chance to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Simon. I am a sophomore here at Brown studying urban studies. I've been working at the Swear Center since last spring as an operations student staffer.
Hi, I'm Naomi. I'm a senior studying English, and like Simon, I've been an operations student staffer since last spring. So it's been like a year. And so a year ago is when we also found out about the pandemic. We got the news that we'd all be finishing the academic year remotely. Do you all remember what you felt like or what you were thinking?
Yeah, especially in terms of like this job. I remember there was a lot of uncertainty because we had really like just been getting to know each other and just like kind of getting into a flow of like working together. So I wasn't really sure like how that would like, I guess, kind of like cross over into like this, what happened in the summer, like over quarantine, or what would happen like during the first semester of this year, the second semester. So just even just with this job or with other things, I was just really unsure, I guess, just about how stuff was going to play out.
And just as y'all supervisor, like honestly, I was unsure because the country was unsure. It was like literally the span of like 7 to 10 days. It was like, oh, this virus, it ain't serious. Oh, wait, we're shutting down. Oh, bye. You got to move off campus. Bye. And I was like, wow, we literally had just had our photo shoot. We were waiting for like commencement to happen that day. And all of a sudden we're off campus. But I remember trying to do my best to make y'all feel like y'all were secure, at least. But I just remember thinking like, wow, this is really happening. We are really leaving. Well, hopefully we'll be back in a month. But I think I remember thinking like, oh, it's important to be adaptable during this time because obviously it's challenging for everyone. And I guess we'll just ride the wave. I just remember thinking like, oh, well, step to the left, step to the right, do everything, and just do as told, I guess.
I feel like when we first got the news, or really the day before the news like officially broke, I think the vibe was very much that everyone was like, it's coming, like the email is coming, we just haven't gotten it yet. It was like a kind of like ticking time bomb feeling. And I remember like that whole day, I just felt like so sad. I think because like I feel like Brown was like the first kind of, you guys know I'm from like a really small town, so I feel like Brown was the first time I like really felt like I was part of a community and was able to have like I think like really important conversations about my identity and like race in America and things like that. So I was like, I don't want to go home. But I also remember thinking like once the official news came out, I feel like I was like, okay, well, we'll be back in September, which was like high key false, but yeah.
High key.
Yeah, we
High
recently
key.
came back. I definitely felt that too, just because yeah, we're both from like really small rural areas.
Yeah.
I definitely felt like, especially as it was my first year, just like losing like half of that first semester as I was like meeting people, like forging relationships, not just with students, but also like with staff at the Swear Center, my professors and stuff. It was just really like a weird time to just kind of get like ripped out of everything right after I was kind of getting into, I guess, the flow of things. But kind of similar to that, I guess, in terms of uncertainty and thinking of the future, like how have you and I guess our program had to adapt to these times?
I think this is definitely one of those areas where I feel really proud of you two because obviously there was so much of your roles that was doing a lot of in building kind of like not only kind of facilitation but also like management, and obviously that piece was lost, and everything went remote. And so I just really appreciate that y'all adapted to helping our systems and helping our like technological Google sheets and like just helping to make things accessible even to those who are who require audiovisual learning. I think that was one of the biggest ways that I've had to adapt as a supervisor is being very cognizant of how to adapt your roles into a remote situation, which is not exactly what the role was written for in the first place. But again, I just really appreciate y'all adaptability in that way. And the same thing with my role too. I've had to, really switch up, like, okay, we're not on campus all the time. Like, how many times do I visit? How many times do I check the mail? How many times do I, even go out? We're all trying to be inside, try to stay safe. What does that mean? But I've just come to really appreciate y'all adaptability.
I would say like I'm very grateful for how it was adapted, because obviously, as you said, like the shift to online was like a completely different workload, but it was also just really interesting to like be able to engage with the Swear Center in different ways through the same position and like keep that same sense of like unity, I guess, within our little group of workers.
Yeah, I'm definitely also, I think Simon, you said grateful. I'm also like really grateful, especially that like this role like kept existing even when we went remotely, and that we were able to like keep up with each other. I think that like maybe a good thing that happened because of the ways this our like work had to shift is that I feel like we were able to be really involved in projects that we might otherwise not have been as involved in, like the supplier diversity initiative. I think it was like, I think I like really appreciated being able to like be super involved in that kind of work. So I guess that's like an exciting benefit, an unforeseen but good thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I think just thinking about that project, just even when y'all got to speak or email or speak to every one of the minority owned businesses, and even like the challenges that we're faced with, that I think even your resilience in the face of all of that project was really cool to see. But I guess a question I'm thinking of is just what have been kind of the biggest challenges that you have all faced in your work, you would say, over the past year? It could be school, it could be even this position, but what do you feel like have been the biggest challenges?
The internet is a dark hole. It's a black hole. And like once you're sucked in, like you can't get back out. It's just like I just feel like productivity and focus are just like words that they don't mean anything to me. Time also doesn't mean anything to me. It's just like so hard to like maintain like energy and like just like even just to do one task at a time. Like I have like a million tabs open like at any given like moment.
No, I completely agree. I feel like the readings for my classes have been like easier to keep up with, just because like, oh, it's reading, like that stays the same. As soon as I get on my computer, I just feel like it's so much harder to like know exactly like what is going on, because like everything, like especially on Canvas, like all of the courses are stylized different ways. Like everything is just really different. I feel like it was just like adapting to a learning curve that like didn't really exist before until like this happened, especially at the upper level. You, Asia, more like specifically with the Swear Center, since you've, I guess, been involved more directly with the processes.
I mean, no true words have been spoken. Like, I think it's just looking at the computer. I've had to see the optometrist. Like, it's just, I didn't realize how much I was in motion during my workday, and I didn't realize how much my body needed that during the workday. And it was rough. It's still rough, but just staring at the computer for hours and hours and maybe getting up but never getting up, I think definitely is a challenge, and a challenge I definitely need to be thoughtful through, and also just I think just in general, I know just a challenge of just how to engage people other than the computer. Like I know I'm computer fatigued. And I know everybody else is computer fatigued, and just even engaging beyond that, engaging students beyond that, engaging our community partners beyond that I know that that's just been a challenge as well, because I think we're just all tired. I'm tired. Yeah, that, I don't know, I would say that for me.
Yeah, I think like being able to keep up connections as well as make new ones has been like really difficult. Zoom is not super conducive to making friends, which is unfortunate. Yeah. But I guess we've talked about some challenges. I'm wondering, do people have any like takeaways from this last strange year?
I feel like for me, like my biggest takeaway was definitely that what Asia had said about like being in motion, like that was basically like my schedule. I felt like there was like almost like muscle memory for me, like knowing what I had to do on day to day. But when I sit on my computer, I just feel like there's like almost no structure to my day when I like don't really know what I'm doing. So like my biggest takeaway has just been like how important it is for me to like write out my schedules each day. Like here are the things I need to get done. This is like the order I could do them in. Just making sure like I give myself structure, because if I don't have it there, it's really just like here's all this work like all in like this one spot, like just sift through it at random. So definitely I think for me it's been like taking an inventory of like all of the things that I just have going on and making sure I'm keeping track of them in my head, just because I can't really keep track of like seeing them as they're happening in person.
I think just piggybacking off of Simon, like I think a takeaway from this year is just like my life is more than what I can do. It's or what I produce. And I think honestly, being in this time, I've been able to recalibrate what I found important and what I prioritize just in my life in general. I've, even though I'm stuck in this little cave for, a day, it does allow me to be able to speak to family, to connect with family. And I obviously that's a privilege. But I think I don't know, biggest takeaway is just like how I've just reprioritized things, and how I prioritize things may not actually need to be that way. And like, all the things that I was kind of doing like busy work and kind of fussing over, are they really that important? Especially now that quite a few of that is gone now. I think it's just been a big lesson to me of just like, it's very important to make sure I get my foundation right, before I just jump back into more and more busy work. I think that's been my takeaway.
Yeah, I think mine is like quite similar actually. I feel like it's easy to kind of just like take ordinary life or like ordinary like college life for granted. Like you kind of forget that like you're just like yeah, going to classes, like being able to go to classes, having your friends here, like hanging out, that just like seems like it's like you're so used to it. But then like when we like lost all of that and had to like do everything remotely, I feel like it really made me see like the real value in all of that. So I think, yeah, like learning to value things and not take them for granted has been like a big takeaway. And then in addition, I think that like the idea of like priority shifting, I think that's so true. I feel like when I was in like my freshman year or my sophomore year and even my junior year, there were things that I was like, oh, like it's okay, like I'll like push this off to do until senior year, and it would be kind of like an adventure with like friends or something like that. Even like small things like going downtown somewhere. I feel like I was like saving things up to do in senior year, and senior year just like never was. And so I think that one thing that I've thought about a lot this year in quarantine is like to kind of not let things go by, just like take advantage of them when you have them. And yeah, kind of just like live into that more and like prioritize relationships a lot.
Yeah, I think a lot of these takeaways obviously are pretty universal, as a lot of people have kind of been going through a lot of the same stuff with like uncertainty and COVID, and I guess just trying to like adapt to the times. So given like that framework of like what these takeaways were, like what would you tell yourself from March 2020? Like if anything, like what would you say?
I would tell myself two things. The first thing would be like, it's okay. Like, give yourself a pat on the back. It's okay. And also buckle up.
Yeah.
Rev up those fryers. Because you're in for a ride. Those would be my two messages to my March 2020 self. Because the denial.
Yeah, I think I'd also definitely have to tell myself, like, sorry to burst your bubble, but this is gonna last a lot longer than you think it is. And then I think the other thing is like, I think that at least I know I kind of have a tendency to like, if like some crisis of whatever scale blows up, I try to like, I'm like, you need to calm down, just like move on, like just keep trucking. And I think that I didn't, like definitely in March, I was like, and then I was like, it's fine. I think I tell myself like, it's okay to like feel things and like be sad and like grieve a little. I think that like ignoring loss of like any scale is like not super productive in the long run. So yeah, I think that's like, if I could go back in time, it'd be like, hey, this is what's up.
Yeah, I think for me, it would be kind of similar to just like understanding like how this was going to play out. Just like you have to know, like you have to be more patient. But I also just think that a big thing for me would have been just like tell myself to like not be so stressed about every single thing that's like happening, because you can't just like be stressed about every aspect of your life. And I feel like as soon as we were sent home, there was just so much, like a lot of my teachers didn't really adapt to online teaching very well, which like they wouldn't have known, but also like there was really no way for us to like manage the course load since they didn't cut stuff off. So I was just like really like I felt really overwhelmed, and I think I should have just like been like I would have told myself like you can't just like put like 100% effort into everything when you're like in unprecedented times. Like if you don't know how things are going to play out, you can't expect them to go smoothly like they were going before the pandemic. Would be like my biggest piece of advice.
Wow. I feel like I'm around the pillars of wisdom right now from you two. I think a question I got is, what are kind of we've gotten through 2020. We're in 2021 now. Kind of what are y'all plans just now that we're kind of at that year mark in March 2021? Like, what are y'all plans for this next year, going into 2022?
For me, I guess mine would be very similar to what Naomi had said about how you like just don't put things off. Like I feel like as soon as things are like more accessible, like just taking advantage of opportunities that you have is like has to be like I would say like one of the biggest things that I hope to be able to do like once things become more clear, more accessible, just like making sure I'm not like only focused in on like my studies or my work, just like making sure like every aspect of my life is something I'm indulging in.
I like that.
For me, so I'm graduating, as you know, in May, very early in May. It's like so soon. I'm not ready.
I'm not ready.
Yeah. But I guess the good news is even a year ago, I was like so stressed out about what I was gonna do after I graduated. I was just like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I now have plans, so that's exciting. I will be starting graduate school in the fall, which is really exciting. And I feel like Asia, I feel like you were so supportive through this whole process. I like really appreciate being able to like have had you on my side this whole time. But I think like in a funny way, like the pandemic was kind of like, I think it made me realize, like Asia, you said like it made you think about values and priorities. And I feel like for me, like when school shut down, I was like I think I was in denial about wanting to go to grad school. Then I was like, no, like this is actually what I want to do, and like I have to do it now. So I guess that's like a good thing that came out of that whole experience, this whole ongoing experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and snaps for grad school. Snaps for grad school. We loving it.
Thank you.
Simon, hopefully we keep you forever. Just throwing that out there on camera, of course. But yeah, I just feel like I've just learned so much from you two, and I'm just so appreciative of just the little like this community that we have just with the three of us has just given me such refreshment and such joy and comfort and honestly reassurance during these tumultuous times that were COVID and 2020. And so I'm really glad that I've gotten to have this conversation with both of you. And thank you for joining us during this time. Catch you later.